Our defense was really good again. Continue to go out there and, as we struggled offensively, they kept their head up and made plays. We're obviously putting the ball on the ground too much offensively. We're going to have to clean that up. Find a way to finish the game. We were able to put a drive together there to end the game, but we're going long periods of time and not being in sync offensively. So we've got a lot of work in that area. I thought our special teams was excellent again. I feel like that at a certain time we were a little bit undisciplined with penalties, even though they were like Peels was a little unusual. But we got to back off on some of the offsides, become a little bit more disciplined. But we found a way to win. Again, defense continued to get stops and gave us an opportunity to win a football game.
Thanks, Coach. If you have a question for Coach Gundy, please click raise hand. Our first question is going to come from Garen Emig from Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Mike, how close was Spencer to playing today?
He could have played. I'm not saying he can run like he would have run, but and I hate when people put percentages on anything, but 80% maybe. It would have been better for him and us if he didn't play today, but he could have.
How would you say Shane did, just off the top?
Average. What would be somewhat expected for a true freshman?
Our next question comes from Joseph Fazio from the O'Colly. Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, Coach, the defense was really able to get pressure on Jared Dagey during this game, especially from players like Calvin Bundage and Amon. What did you just think of those two linebackers in this game today?
It looks like they played well. There were a number of times that we influenced the quarterback. I don't know if it'll show up statistically because he got rid of the ball right before we hit him. You guys might know better than me, but I bet we got at least 10 hits on him today. Sometimes those count. He sat in the pocket. I'll give it up to him. He sat in there and took a lot of hits today, but our backer pressure was really good.
I know you were probably in the locker room when it's happened at halftime, but just what did you think about the celebration for Thurman Thomas and getting his name and number up in the rafters of Boone Pickens Stadium?
Well, the Ring of Honor is something that I've pushed for a long time, and we've got a number of really, really, really qualified football players that have come out of this place that can go in the Ring of Honor. So we won't be short with guys to put in the Ring of Honor. And I told the team and other people, my fondest memories of Thurman are him as a practice player. He practiced harder, just as hard as anybody I'd ever been around. And he went full speed all the time, took pride in it, and that's why he played the way he played, and that's why he was a tough guy.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Coach, you talked about pressure in quarterback. There's 9 quarterback hurries today, 11 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 6 pass breakups.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. I didn't have the number, but I knew there was a lot of hits on the quarterback, and eventually that's going to wear a guy down.
Our next question is going to come from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, LD Brown had another big game for you guys. What do you think about the way he's been able to start this season in these first 2 games?
I'm just thrilled with him and his ability to protect and his ability to rush the football. He started to cramp up a little bit today, but, it's almost like he just said, hey, I'm a senior. I'm going to roll with it this year. I'm going to play lights out. And his attitude, the smile on his face, and his willingness to compete's been awesome.
I know you talked about Shane's performance being average, but on that last drive, that's a pretty big situation for a freshman to be in.
Sure.
With everything being online. How do you think he handled that situation?
Yeah, and when I say average, I mean, if we're going to grade him based on a college quarterback not being a freshman, that's why he fell into the average category. For a true freshman being out there, he played okay, and there's times that he made mistakes, but there was times that he did make some big plays. All that's going to take time. I mean, the guy's young. So we found a way to win, and that's what's important right now. We certainly have a lot of work ahead of us, and we don't need to cancel practice, but we at least found a way to win.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, last couple questions for Coach Gundy. The next one is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Mike. Chuba had a couple fumbles and at times seemed to struggle. How would you evaluate Chuba through 2 games and after today?
Well, it's not good when you put the ball on the ground, and he knows that. and he's got to do a better job of taking care of the football. He did come back in late and made a cut and made a score, and did good for us. But this is not a secret. He needs to take care of the football. And we have to have him healthy, rushing the ball, taking care of the football in order for us to be a good offensive football team.
Is he banged up a little bit?
No, he's fine.
Okay. And you got Dez Jackson in there too. What'd you think of Dez today? That was the first opportunity to see him carry the ball.
Yeah, it looked like he got about, I guess, only saw 2 or 3 plays. And the times he was in, looks like he got downhill and tried to rush through there and get the yards that he could get. Depending on the weather and the health, he's a guy that can rotate in a little more.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
All right, our final question for Coach Gundy is going to come from Garen Emig from the Tulsa World. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, just until you do get into a more of a flow this season, just the importance of making plays when you have to make them. And that's not just, that doesn't seem to just be coming up here in your game today, but all over the country if we're learning anything early. Just address that and just your players' willingness to do what's necessary until, again, you guys get into things.
It would be like us trying to explain the virus. It's a very unusual season. The conditioning of the teams is unusual. The makeup, the focus is different than it ever has been. I've not been involved in anything like this and just watching what happens during the week and on the field. So the point you're bringing up is exactly right. So you just got to find a way to win somehow. And it's not pretty. I mean, I've been here 16 years as a coach, and that's not how you draw it up. But it's just an unusual year, and it's different than it ever has been. And so the guys have to find a way to win a football game and make enough plays. And then we have to keep coaching simplicity, high reps, try to put them in a position to win football games.
Thanks.
All right, that'll do it for questions for Coach. But before we let you go, Coach, do you have any final thoughts, any messaging that you want to be able to say here while we've got everybody?
Well, I'm glad we're back out here. I know people are getting canceled across the country, and I will again say that our medical staff and our players, I just told our players again in the locker room, for us to continue to have negative positives, I'm shocked. Now, I'm not so naive to think that that's going to stay that way. Percentages tell us that guys are going to start to get it here and there, but they've been very disciplined. Our medical staff's had great information. And our players have done a good job of protecting themselves and helping to protect the society here in Stillwater. So I'm very proud of them for that and the way that they've worked hard to try to help each other out. And we're looking forward to another week of practice and getting to play another football game. Y'all stay safe.